Do you truly believe God is all-powerful? This is a question that has stirred the hearts of many, a thought that has been a source of hope and inspiration. God's attribute illustrates his limitless and boundless power. The scriptures often speak of the divine power of God, repeatedly confirming his omnipotence. One such reference is Genesis 18:14, where it is asked, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" This rhetorical question is a divine affirmation of God's boundless power, a power that knows no limits, a power that is infinite. God's power is not just immense, but it's the absolute, the ultimate. It's the power that created the universe and everything within it. He spoke, and it came into being. He commanded, and it stood firm. Such is the infinite power of God, a power that is not bound by the laws of nature, a power that transcends the comprehension of the human mind. The power of God is not confined by our humanly expectations or understanding. It is not subject to our time or space. It is a power that surpasses all, a power that is beyond measure. It is a power that is all-encompassing, reaching the furthest corners of the universe, yet so personal that it touches each one of us individually. The infinite power of God is a reassurance that there is no situation, no problem, no challenge that is beyond his control. His power is not a concept to merely be discussed and debated, but to be believed and experienced. God, the creator of the universe, holds infinite power, and nothing is impossible for him. This affirmation of God's power is not just a theological doctrine, but a living reality. A reality that we can experience, a reality that can transform our lives. Do you believe in miracles? Have you ever witnessed one? In Scripture, there are countless instances of miracles performed by God, underlining his limitless power and his kindness. Miracles are not just acts of divine intervention, they are the manifestation of God's love and his desire to help us in our times of need. Reflect on a story from the John 11:44. This is the story of Lazarus, a man who was dead and buried for 4 days. Yet when Jesus arrived, he did the unthinkable. He called out to Lazarus, "Come out!" And Lazarus did. He emerged from the tomb alive and well. This wasn't just a miracle. It was a testament to the power of God, a power that transcends the natural laws of life and death. But this is just one example. The Bible is filled with stories of God's miraculous power. God parted the Red Sea for Moses and the Israelites. He made the sun stand still for Joshua. He fed 5,000 people with just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Each of these miracles, no matter how big or small, shows God's limitless power. Miracles are easy for God. What he's done before, he can do it again. These miracles remind us that for God, nothing is impossible. He can bring life where there is death, hope where there is despair, and abundance where there is lack. And the same power that performed these miracles thousands of years ago is still operating on a daily basis. So, when we find ourselves in situations that seem impossible to overcome, let's remember the miracles of God. We serve a God whose power is limitless, whose love is endless, and whose mercy is unending. Our most dire circumstance is a simple matter for God. But what does God's limitless power mean for us in our daily lives? Picture this. You're facing a mountain of challenges, and it seems like there's no way out. But then, you remember a scripture, Philippians 4:13, which says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This is not just a comforting phrase, but a powerful declaration of God's power working in and through us. God's power isn't just about parting seas or raising people from the dead. It's about the strength to rise each morning, the courage to face our fears, and the peace to sleep each night. It's about the resilience to keep going when times are tough, the wisdom to make the right choices, and the love to forgive those who've wronged us. That is the power of God manifesting in our daily lives. Imagine what it would be like to tap into this power, to know that no matter what you're facing, you're not alone, that there's a divine power working in you, giving you the strength and wisdom to overcome. It's like having a superpower, but this one's real. It's available to everyone, and it's limitless. This power is not just for the extraordinary moments of our lives, but for the ordinary ones too. It's for the moments when you're stuck in traffic, when you're dealing with a difficult coworker, or when you're trying to balance your budget. It's in these moments that God's power shines the brightest, turning our ordinary into extraordinary, our trials into testimonies. But tapping into this power requires faith. It requires belief that no matter what we're facing, God is with us and He is for us. It requires constant communication with Him through prayer and meditation. And it requires obedience, for God's power works best in those who are willing to follow His lead. God's power is not just about grand miracles, it's also about empowering us in our daily lives. So, the next time you're faced with a challenge, remember you're not alone. You have the power of the Almighty within you, and with Him, nothing is impossible. How can we embrace and trust this divine power? At the heart of trusting in God's power lies a fundamental pillar: faith, a deep, unwavering belief in His omnipotence and His infinite wisdom. A faith that stands firm even when the storms of life rage. It's about acknowledging that we as humans have limitations, but God, He is limitless. His power knows no bounds. So how do we cultivate this faith? How do we strengthen our belief in God's power? It begins with prayer. In Mark 11:24, it's written, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Isn't that profound? It's an attestation to the power of belief, the strength of faith. When you pray, do so with an unwavering conviction that God has already answered, even before you see the manifestation. Prayer is not just about asking, it's about believing. It's about trusting that God, in His infinite wisdom and love, will respond in the best way possible. It's about surrendering our worries, our hopes, our dreams, and our fears to Him, confident that He is in control. Trusting in God's power also means accepting His will. Sometimes what we want may not align with what God has planned for us, and that's okay because His plans are always better than ours. His ways, though they may be mysterious, are always perfect. Trusting in God's power means believing that He sees the bigger picture, that He knows what's best for us, even when we don't understand it. This trust in God's power, this faith, it's not just about moving physical mountains. It's about overcoming the mountains of doubt, fear, and despair that often stand in our path. It's about finding strength in our weakest moments, peace amidst chaos, and hope when all seems lost. Belief and trust in God's power can move mountains. Remember that, believe it, and watch as miracles unfold in your life. God's power is an omnipotent force capable of creating miracles that boggle the human mind. Whether it's parting seas, healing the sick, or breathing life into inanimate matter, God's power is evident in every miracle. But it's not just about grand miracles. God's power is also manifested in our everyday lives in ways we often overlook. It's in the rising sun that brings a new day, the blooming flowers that signal the arrival of spring, or the comforting hug from a loved one. These everyday miracles are proof that God's power is at work in our lives. And then there's the power of faith. Trusting in God's power is a transformative experience. It's a leap of faith that opens the door to a world of endless possibilities. When we trust in God's power, we invite His grace into our lives, and with His grace comes strength, resilience, and the courage to face any challenge that comes our way. So what does this all mean for us? It means that God's power is within our reach. It's not a distant, abstract concept. It's a tangible force that we can tap into, a source of strength that we can draw from. It's a transformative power that can turn our trials into triumphs, our tribulations into testimonies. Embracing God's power is about opening our hearts and minds to His grace. It's about digging a little deeper, looking beyond the surface, and recognizing the divine presence in our lives. It's about believing in the impossible, knowing that with God all things are possible. All we need is faith. If you're ready to believe for transformation, like and subscribe to our channel. Put your faith into action by leaving a comment. Let us know what stood out to you in this video. Share to encourage others. Let's inspire each other on this path to living transformed lives. Thanks for watching.